Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 15 here on Sudbury with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, we are picking it up right where we left off, which means we need to get the straw out of what was our svelte field. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the government page here. And we are being offered the demo on some Manitou equipment. Now, we don't have a whole lot of use for the forklift, but the telehandler we could use to pick up the bales in the field. So we are actually going to sign up for that. So that equipment is waiting for us at the shop. Oh, we got the bale wrapping one here again. Yeah, we don't wrap any of our bales. You know what? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that one too. Yeah, it didn't pay us much, but yeah, something's better than nothing. But speaking of the shop, that's why we've got our old girl sitting here, because what we're going to do, get it fired up here. We are going to see if we can hook our baler to this, as we're going to trade in our New Holland round baler for an old John Deere square baler. So one, we don't have to worry about round bales rolling away on us. And two, we can make larger bales so we have few bales to handle in the field. Now let me turn the HUD on here so we can see if this will actually hook up here. If I back up, perfect, it does. The reason I wanted to use this is it's just a little bit quicker going down the road than our tractors. Of course, pulling this baler, we don't want to go crazy fast, but a little bit faster than what our tractors can go. So I am going to take care of this. I've got some equipment to shuttle back and forth here, and I'll get that done, and I'll meet you at our field with our new to us baler. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Well, we're back here at the field, and you can see I have our 9190 hooked to our new John Deere square baler. I was going to use the D21, which technically has enough horsepower, but just enough. But I thought it might struggle with this hill that you can see here in front of us. And I didn't want to have to explain equipment change partway through. So we're just going to go with the 9190. But I do prefer to use the D21 just because it's got a better turning radius for baling. We are going to do a cinematic on this. I am going to have to start with the headlamps because the way I did the harvesting. So I may need to super strength some bales out of the road just because I can't start with the center of the fields. Anyways, no matter, but just thought I explained that if you did see some bales during the cinematic that mysteriously were moved, that's why. But enough of that. Let's jump in and get this started. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Well, there we go. Job done. I hope you enjoyed that cinematic. It's going to be a little bit different because I ran into an issue with course play shortly after the headlands was done. And the remainder of the shots I actually had to do while I was operating the tractor. So kind of constrained you a little bit in the shots you can take. But we were too far gone. I didn't want to throw out what we had done. So I'll just make the best of it as I can in editing. Although it was an issue with course play, I think it was more caused by how I had to record this in real life. So I don't think it's an inherent issue we'll have to worry about going forward. But anyways, enough on that. We need to get these bales picked up. So I will get to the farmyard here and get organized. And I will meet you back in the field and we'll pick up some square straw bales. See you in a minute. Well, we're out here in the field picking up these straw bales. I was going to tell you how many bales we got, but I put in a mod that gives me a lot more flexibility with the help menu, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be compatible with the bale counter. I lost that feature. I do know that baler has it. It's just not displaying the number currently. But it's really not that important. What I can tell you is these are 9,000 liter straw bales, and our round bales we had before were 5,000 liters. So these bales are nearly twice the size. Not quite, but pretty darn close to it. So in other words, we have half the number of bales that we need to handle. And they stay where we put them. So we're going to test the limits of the axle on this old girl again. Now, of course, we could have done this with our D21 and the front loader. It's just the fact that we get to use this for free. We don't need to put any fuel in it. Don't have to pay any maintenance. And it is more maneuverable. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. I haven't decided what we'll put back in this field. We'll have to take a look at the crop calendar and figure that out. I don't think there's anything we can plant this month, but next month we will be able to plant something in. And next, oh, a little bit more yet. Next month we can do the harvest on our canola, I believe. Oops. Now this, if you're watching Farmer Mike and myself on our multiplayer content, you will know this is not a typical Farmer Mike load. But it will do for us. 6 bales, 6 square bales, which would be the equivalent to almost, like I say, 12 round bales. So it's a pretty good load of straw. All right. Oh, we could just leave this idle. It won't hurt anything. We'll jump in here. Strap her down. And away we go. I think there looks like there might be only like about 2 more trips. Not too bad. course, once we get all of these into our silo, we'll be able to tell how many we got. But like I said, doesn't really matter. We've got lots of straw. Oh, I didn't open up the door. Oopsie. Now, I think if we just back right up the middle, I believe, we'll find the trigger. Or do we actually have to take them off of here? Oh, okay. Looks like we actually have to unload them. Let me just try over here, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close right to the middle. Yeah. All right, well, I'll have to bring the telehandler over and get these unloaded, but I will do that. And I don't know if you noticed that. Our back tire had sunk. Let's see if I could do that again. Well, if there was a function of going in here, or just oh no, of course not. I don't know if you noticed it, but just as I was driving out, our tires sunk right down to the rim there in one spot for some reason. Anyways, I'll get the telehandler over. We'll get these unloaded. I'll get the rest of the bales off of the field, and I will catch up with you then. See you in a bit. Well, this is our last load of bales here. We actually got 3 loads exactly, or 18 bales. And I did discover I just wasn't over far enough. The trigger is not right in the middle, but off to the side there a little bit. So I think I'll leave you there here on the farm for this month. But I do have some other work to do. I did look at the crop calendar, and I think what we're going to do in that field is we are going to put green rye in there, followed by corn next spring. So I think that's the plan we'll go ahead with. So I'm going to go ahead, put some digestate on that field and get it mulched and ready for that. And of course we'll do that off camera, and I will bring you back in early, hopefully early next month, when we can harvest our canola. So I will see you then. Welcome back to the farm, everyone, and welcome to August. It is August 1st, about 7:30 in the morning. And you could probably hear some thunder rumbling there, and you can see the odd raindrop starting here. This is the beginning of a thunderstorm, one of a couple that are actually forecasted for today. So although our canola is ready to be harvested, that is going to have to wait probably till tomorrow. Tomorrow is supposed to be sunny and really hot, so we should be able to get after that tomorrow afternoon sometime, no problem, if the weatherman's not lying. But speaking of harvest, I have something to show you. We have a new vehicle here on the farm. I bought an old International grain truck that we can use to move our crop off the field and move our crop to the sell point. Now, there were a couple reasons why I did that. First reason, obviously, the truck will travel faster than the tractor trailer, and that'll be more efficient. But the biggest reason is, here in my neck of the woods anyways in Canada, you don't see farmers hauling their crop to the granaries and that, the co-ops, in tractor trailers. It's always in some sort of truck. So that's the biggest reason why I did it, because we've got some svelts we're going to sell, and I wanted to use a truck to do it because it's more realistic for Canada, let's say. Nothing wrong with the tractor and trailer moving it off the field, but like I said, just don't see them trucking them down the road with a tractor trailer haul their crops to the sell point. So we got ourselves an old truck for that. Now its capacity isn't quite as large as what our trailer is. I think our trailer is 30,000, this truck's 25, but you know what? It will do the job. And speaking of jobs, I've thought of another job for the telehandler that we can do before it goes, and I think it will be heading down the road, I think tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day for sure. So I thought, I might as well do this particular chore, and that is fill up our animal pens with the baled products that they require, just because it will be a little bit easier with the telehandler. Now, as you can see, I am using the unrealistic forks, the pallet forks with straps, because it makes this job super easy. That it's that difficult with the old D21, but I have to put the bucket on, put the weight on the back. With the telehandler, it's all ready to go. So it does make the manually handling aspect of pallets and bales and that sort of thing a lot easier. I really like this mod. Just like that. So, yeah, I know it's not realistic, but the physics for this type of equipment isn't exactly realistic in game either, so. It'll take this at least and maybe a bit more. And then our goat pen could use a little hay as well. And I can move some straw. So I'm going to be doing this for a little bit, back and forth. But good rainy time job here on the farm. Now it is too bad, like with these demos, that it don't offer you an extra deal on the equipment after you've demoed it, if you like it, because this only had like 6 hours on it, unlike the tractor we demoed. It had, I can't remember, 60 hours or something like that. It had a pile. Oh, was that full already? Must be. I thought it would take more than that. Let's push it ahead here a little bit. Closer. Well, we'll take this over. Oh, of course. Well, I'll come back and get those. I'm not gonna argue with it, because I don't think our goat pen's gonna take that much. But yeah, as I was saying, it's too bad they don't offer a sweetheart deal if you buy the demo, because I would be interested in buying this. Like I said, I only had 6 hours on it, so it would have been a good use, but they don't seem to. I don't know. Didn't think our goat pen needed that much hay. But anyways, I'm going to carry on with this, and like I said, take advantage of the telehandler while we have it, and I will meet you when we can actually get in that field and get that harvest done. So I'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back to the farm, everybody. It's mid-morning, a couple days later, and it's finally dry enough for us to harvest our canola. So let's jump in our harvester here, and we'll get going on that. Now, we are going to rock this old school Farmer Murphy style, meaning I'm just going to keep you with me, and we are going to harvest this by hand. We're not going to do a cinematic or a time lapse or anything. And the reason for that is I have a few things to share with you, and I thought I might as well do it from the seat of the harvester. Now, first, there is a bit of an issue with patch 1.19, and we saw that with our old flatbed truck. And that is the tires were falling through the map. Remember, I showed you that when we unload some of the straw bales? Well, when I went to sell cheese with that truck, driving down the road, it was just horrendous. And I actually ended up upside down in one of the fields. That's how bad it was. So for the time being, I've taken and stored that truck away off the map, because it's basically not usable to us. And we're either going to have to wait for a Giants patch, or more than likely a patch to the mod, and it may never come because that is a third-party mod off of itch. So we'll see about that. And I think it's more likely a mod patch that we're waiting for, because there was a patch come out or an update for our forage harvesters to address that very issue for the wheels falling through the map because of 1.19. And I haven't noticed it on any Giants vehicles, so I'm going to guess that it's probably going to be up to the modders to fix or adjust their mods if it's happening. So that may or may not happen with that mod, so we'll just have to wait and see, but we may end up having to replace that. But unfortunately, that wasn't the only vehicle we're having issues with, because our 9190, every once in a while, the front tires fall through the map right up to the axle. And it's happened a few times, like maybe 5-6 times since the updates come out. I have been using it a fair bit, and it hasn't impacted our cinematics or any of our recordings yet, but I was planning on putting another tractor in that we would end up, basically for modernization when we're doing precision farming. I may have to do that sooner rather than later, but even at this point, I'm not planning on getting rid of that tractor. It wasn't as bad as the truck, and we just might have to limit its use a little bit. So that's unfortunate. Of course, unless there's an update that comes out for it. So we'll just have to keep an eye on those things. Now, this field here we're in, when I bought it, I said I had plans for it. And I did at the time. And those plans were to put a large pig pasture in here. Basically take the whole thing up and raise some pigs. But I got thinking about that. And I thought, in real life, would I put a large pig operation right next to my house? Because as delicious as bacon is, it's not so pleasant when you're raising it. The odor of it, that is. So I thought, I probably wouldn't. And I got to thinking, actually, when we swing around here, there, we'll stop there. When I got looking at that hillside, and I thought, wouldn't that look nice with some horses grazing out on the meadow on that hillside? And so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a horse enclosure up here on the hilly section, mostly to raise for fun, aesthetics. But if we're on the map long enough, we can actually make a little money if we get some foals out of them. So I'm thinking of doing that. And then down here on the bottom, I'd like to add another goat pasture, because we've been selling quite a few goats lately to keep her to meet the government regulations. And if we had some place to put them, we could keep them and increase our milk production from the goats. So I think that's what I'm going to plan on the bottom. I still have a plan for the pigs, but it's just not going to be here. But I have to put one caveat in. That's as long as my system doesn't bog down with these extra animal pens. We'll have to see. But I'm going to try. And for that reason, I'm going to hang on to our money. We are now sitting at about 160,000, just a little north. And I'm just going to keep accumulating funds so we can do that construction project. Either late this fall or early winter is when I'm hoping on doing it. So that's what the plan is with the money. So we do have enough money right now. We could pay that mortgage off, but I'm not going to for that reason. And speaking of fields, I have decided that that soybean field right in front of us we're looking at right now, and the field that had spelt in it this fall, I'm going to put in wheat and barley in those fields, and that is to facilitate our mineral feed production. We have some oats on hand already, and we have a field of oats that's going to be ready to harvest in a little while. If we put in a field of wheat and barley, that should give us the ability to make mineral feed for a while, and then we'll look at what we put in next. Now this canola here, uh, I didn't even look at what the moisture is on it because I didn't care, because we're just going to keep it either for mineral feed production or more likely actually for pig food going forward. So any of the crops like that we're just going to use, but we don't have to worry about the moisture content. The ones that we sell are the ones we're most concerned about. And speaking of that, the last thing I think I need to mention is there was an update to the moisture system this morning. And after I updated and came on the map, there was a note that popped up and implied that the crop's now dry in the silo, and that there is a fee for drying your crops when you sell them. So I'm going to have to look into that, see what the impact of that is. Drying our crops is really not something we've had to worry about. Our crops have been too dry, so I need to see what the impact is on that silo drying business, if it just dries it, if it's required down to age or just continuously dries, or what the deal is there. We don't want our crops to get any drier than they already are, that's for sure. And I'm not sure what the deal is with that selling, because you paid a penalty, if you want to call it that, in the sale price that you got for your crops if they were too wet. Is this drying fee on top of that or in place of that? So got a little research I need to do there for going forward, so we know what is going on. Did we miss a little piece there, or did we get it all? Nope, we got it all. So we are done. That was pretty short and sweet. Oops, that's not what I want. That's what I wanted to do. Get the pipe out here. There, I think that brings you up to speed on everything. Ooh, still had the $6 million man run on. Now we didn't even fill up the hopper, as you saw. There we go. We'll go and throw this in our silo. Come on, girl. You can do it. There we go. Such as it is, there is our canola harvest done. So I think I will leave you there for this episode, because I believe we are out of time. Park this old girl right here for the time being, and I'll find a spot for it. So we have the soybean harvest yet this fall. I don't know if I'll bring you in for that. Probably should. May not show much of it, but that's likely when we'll meet. And I think that's in a month or two potentially. But that's when we'll meet up next. So I hope to see you then. If you're still watching, I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode here on Sudbury, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.